Hi, and welcome to That's Ruddy Mysterious, a podcast of short tales about true mysteries. What happened to the Flannan Isles Lightkeepers? Who was responsible for the Gardner Museum heist? I'm not going to solve those mysteries, but they'll be interesting to learn about. I'm your host, Kelly with an I. Transcripts for all episodes can be found at that'sruddymysterious.wordpress.com. No apostrophe and no exclamation point. Today's tale is about the New York City Transit Authority heist. On Monday, July 23, 1979, two supervisors showed up for duty at the New York Transit building. Upon doing their rounds, they discovered stacks of cash missing from the money room. George Artz, press secretary to the New York City mayor at the time, Ed Koch, said it was well strategized. They knew exactly what they were doing. $10 bills are easy to pass off. Tokens you couldn't get away with. Dollar bills are just too much to carry around. But the question is, how did they get 120 pounds of $10 bills out of the building? The Transit Building, also known as the Transportation Building, and also known as 370 J Street, sits at the northwest corner of J Street and Willoughby Street. It was built to be the central headquarters for the New York City Board of Transportation. Construction crews broke ground for 370 J Street on October 8, 1948, and it was opened on April 1, 1951. It was intended to house 2,500 employees from three divisions of the Board of Transportation. It housed employees from the executive, legal, and engineering staffs, while the rest of the building was to be rented out. In total, 370 J Street cost $10 million to build. The New York City Board of Transportation was created in 1924 with the purpose of controlling public transportation in New York City. It was dissolved in 1953, and 370 J Street was taken over by the New York City Transit Authority, which replaced the Board of Transportation. The New York City Transit Authority became part of the present-day MTA, or the Metropolitan Transit Authority, in 1968. In 1979, New York City was facing a rise in crimes. There were a record 1,700 homicides in New York City in that year. Tony Schwartz, a Times reporter, described the increase in crime in a December 26th report. He said, "For the first 6 months, the police reported a 6.5% rise in serious crimes. They attribute the rise in homicides at least partly to an increase in killings committed during robberies. Between January and March, 6,320 robberies were committed in the city, compared to 6,021 during the same period in 1978. In March of 1979, the New York City Police declared a war on subway crime. The subway system in New York City was suffering. They were recovering from a financial crisis and didn't have much money, so you would think the theft of $600,000 would have been big news. Due to the increase in violent crime, however, not many seemed to take notice. From 1951 to 2006, the Transit Authority ran an armored money train, which moved all fares that had been collected for the bus and subway systems to a secret room called the Money Room at 370 J Street. The system used underground tunnels to move the revenue collected. Richard Edmonds, a New York Daily News reporter, explained the Money Room. "This is the most heavily guarded room in America. It had a dedicated train, a money train, that drove right into the building. The money was put with armed guards on an elevator up just one floor. It was airtight, the highest security you could imagine. And the money train ran until 2006, when they transitioned to Metro cards. There was huge amounts of money going through that room. Let's take a day when there are 4 million riders. For example, that's $2 million in revenue coming in every day from the subways alone. Buses contributed more beyond that. A lot of that money came in coins or small bills because of the fare rate. So a lot of this stuff had to be counted and bagged and then shipped to the bank. The money train was heavily guarded. It usually had 12 collecting agents and one supervisor aboard. Each of these people aboard the money train was armed, and they all wore body armor. The money train was a 2-car train. One car carried the collecting agents, and the other carried the revenue that had been collected. Prior to the use of the money train, revenue was moved using armored cars. In 2006, the Transit Authority began using Metro cards. With the advent of Metro cards, the Transit Authority went back to using armored cars. The Transit Authority also phased out the money room when they began using Metro cards. The money room used to be right next door to the women's restroom. In 1979, there were not very many women employed by the Board of Transportation. A few weeks prior to the heist, 2 employees locked themselves out of the money room. In order to get inside, they broke through a wall in the women's restroom. Arts explained that the employees were embarrassed, not realizing the money room only opened from the inside. He said that in the restroom, the employees found a plate covering a hole in the wall. They removed the plate, leaving a 20-inch hole in the wall. Because the transit system was suffering financially, the wall was not immediately repaired. A flimsy piece of plywood was used as a temporary repair. This was deemed good enough because the restroom where the hole existed was so rarely used. A week before the heist, a notice was sent to all employees that the power would be turned off at 370 J Street on Friday, July 19th. Arts explained, "They send out the teletype message a week before that there's going to be an assimilated blackout. It was a perfect weekend to pull this off. Everyone knew about it. Once those 2 guys got locked out of the money room, everyone on the second floor knew about it." On Monday, July 23rd, the power was back on and the 2 supervisors were doing their rounds when they discovered the money missing from the money room. The thieves had made off with 60 stacks of bills. Each stack was a bundle of $10 bills in $1,000 stacks. The thieves had stolen $600,000. There was plenty of other money in the money room, but the thieves didn't even touch it. Richard Edmonds explained that the thieves were not greedy, as they could have taken hundreds of thousands of dollars more than they did. He said it was right there to be taken, and no one was there to catch the thieves in the process. He said they could have taken all night to remove the cash. So why didn't they? Arts explained that the heist was well planned. The thieves knew exactly what to take. He explained that $10 bills are small enough to pass off easily, but large enough to be worth the theft. He explained that the money would have weighed 120 pounds and wondered how the thieves removed it from the building. Arts went on to explain some of the theories. He said that some believe that the thieves brought the money into the locker room to split it up before removing it from the building, and that the thieves had then just each carried their portion out. Another theory is that the thieves had outside help and that they were able to put the money into duffel bags, which they threw out a window to help waiting below. Arts then explained that the duffel bags would have been very heavy and would have made a sound when they hit the ground, but no one seemed to see or hear anything. Weeks after the heist, the bags that held the money in the money room were found empty in New Jersey. Sanford Sandy Gerlich was the first Jewish chief inspector of the New York Police Department. At the time of the heist, he was serving as the youngest captain-in-chief of the NYPD. Eventually, Gerlich would go on to become a politician, serving as city council president and eventually losing a mayoral bid. He was a World War II veteran. He had been named as chief of the New York City Transit Police Department and director of security in 1975. Gerlich didn't seem to take the heist very seriously. Arts joked that in response to the heist, Gerlich acted like Inspector Clouseau from the Pink Panther movies. Clouseau was a bumbling, inept police detective whose investigations often became chaotic. When Gerlich was asked whether or not he'd asked the FBI for help, Gerlich responded that they were the 5th or 6th largest police department and that they didn't need the FBI's help. In fact, Gerlich tried to sweep the heist under the rug entirely. According to Arts, the day after the heist, Gerlich told reporters, "There's still no proof of a crime. It's an alleged crime." In 1980, Governor Hugh Carey fired Sandy Gerlich. Police believed the heist to be an inside job. They interviewed and fingerprinted over 700 Transit Authority employees. However, they never named any suspects or made any arrests in connection with the heist. The $600,000 has also never been found. Who do you think stole $600,000 from the New York Transit Authority in 1979? Was it an inside job? What do you think? If you're listening on Spotify, scroll down and let me know what you think. Thanks for listening to today's episode of That's Ready Mysterious. I'm your host, Kelly with an I. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a review and follow That's Ready Mysterious to be updated about new episodes. Tune in next Tuesday for another thought-provoking tale.